You were taught to be liked, taught to keep the peace, taught to be agreeable, taught to be good. Carl Jung would say that goodness can be a mask. And if you're not careful, it becomes a prison. People-pleasing does not make you kind. It makes you invisible. You don't earn more respect by saying yes. You don't receive more love by being easy to like. You don't find peace by staying passive. You simply disappear quietly. And few notice when you're gone. You think you're being helpful, cooperative, supportive. But in truth, you're abandoning yourself. Each time you do it, you teach the world that your needs don't matter, that your time is always available, that your boundaries are optional, that your silence is approval. Carl Jung didn't see people-pleasing as politeness. He saw it as the shadow in disguise, a mask to protect you from rejection, conflict, or disconnection. Here's the truth. The more you please, the more you'll be used. Not because people are cruel, but because they respond to what you allow. If you never show the parts of you that want to say no, that want to disagree, that want to be left alone, you will become a shell, a shape designed to fit into other people's expectations. One day you wake up tired, resentful, feeling fake, and no one really sees you. Jung had a name for this, the persona. The mask trained into you by parents, teachers, culture, built to make you acceptable, to help you fit in, to avoid punishment, to survive. And yes, you needed it. We all do in some ways. You can't walk through life saying every thought out loud. You can't act on every impulse. But Jung's warning was clear. When you mistake the mask for your identity, you lose your soul. You are not here to be agreeable. You are here to be real. Every time you avoid saying no, you are saying yes to self-erasure. You think the cost of speaking your mind is conflict. But the real cost is resentment. You think saying no is selfish. But the real selfishness is staying silent, while resenting others for not reading your mind. You think making people happy is noble. But the real nobility is having boundaries so clear that no one has to guess who you are. Jung knew repression breeds distortion. When you repress your anger, your instincts, your voice, you don't become nicer. You become bitter, disconnected, because deep down you know you're not being honest. You're performing. You're managing emotions instead of speaking your truth. Eventually, your body shows the signs. Exhaustion, burnout, fear of disappointment, overthinking every reply, overanalyzing every interaction. That is not sensitivity. It is emotional imprisonment. And the more you please, the more you train others to expect your compliance. They stop believing you even have a no. You cannot be loved if you are not known. The people you try so hard to please only know the version of you you've allowed them to see. And now you fear changing. Because if you set boundaries, they will say you've changed. They will say you're selfish. They will say you're cold. The truth? They've simply grown used to your silence, your softness, your submission. When you start being honest, it feels like aggression to them, not because you're hurting them, but because your honesty is finally protecting you. Jung would say this is the moment individuation begins. Individuation isn't self-improvement. It is self-possession. It is becoming a full human being, with a spine, with a shadow, with a voice, with a no that matters. Until you get there, you will always feel slightly hollow, like something is off, like your life doesn't truly belong to you. That is not depression. That is your real self trying to wake you up, trying to break through the script you've been acting out for years. And the only way out is to stop pleasing. When you finally stop, some will be uncomfortable. Some will be angry. Some will leave. Some will try to guilt you back into being soft. Let them. That is not cruelty. That is clarity. Because you are not here to please. You are here to be whole. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Boundaries that disappoint others can still protect your soul. And anyone who only loved you when you were easy to control was never loving you, only your compliance. Jung would call this not selfishness, but awakening. Approval feels safe, feels like love, feels like belonging. But Carl Jung warned, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. As long as you depend on approval, you are outsourcing your worth. You adjust your words to avoid judgment. You hide your truth to keep the peace. You perform to protect the image people have of you. It works for a while. You feel included. You feel liked. You feel needed. But deep down you know the truth. They are not approving you. They are approving your mask. And the moment you drop it, the moment you speak from your real self, you risk losing them. This is why approval is addictive. It gives quick comfort but long-term emptiness. It feeds the part of you that fears rejection, while starving the part of you that longs for freedom. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters." When your reactions are shaped by the need to please, you are no longer living, you are managing perception. The addiction begins in childhood. You learn that good behavior earns praise, that obedience gets you love, that achievement gets you attention. You learn to scan faces for signs of disappointment. You adjust before conflict can arise. You play the role that keeps you safe. This becomes muscle memory. You do it without thinking. You can read a room before you even enter it. You can sense disapproval before a word is spoken. Jung would call this a survival adaptation. It was necessary once. It saved you. But the problem is, you never stopped. Now it's not just a habit. It's an identity. The world rewards you for it. You're the reliable one, the helpful one, the agreeable one, the one who never complains. And you pay for it with your authenticity. Breaking this addiction feels dangerous at first. You fear being called difficult. You fear losing relationships. You fear standing out in the wrong way. But the real danger is staying the same. Because approval has a cost, and the price is yourself. Nietzsche said, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. The tribe offers comfort, but it demands conformity. And the moment you step outside its expectations, you will feel its resistance." Breaking the approval addiction means facing that resistance without folding. It means saying no without over-explaining. It means speaking the truth even when your voice shakes. It means refusing to bend just to be accepted. At first, the silence after your honesty will feel unbearable. You will want to rush in and fix it. You will want to soften your words. You will want to return to the role. But you must hold the line. Because the people who truly value you will adjust. They will learn your boundaries. They will respect the self you are becoming. And the ones who cannot, they are simply attached to the version of you that served them, not the version of you that serves yourself. Carl Jung also said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." When you break the approval addiction, you stop letting other people's comfort decide who you become. You may lose some connections, but what remains will be real. You will speak and know your words belong to you. You will act and know your choices are aligned. You will wake up and know you no longer need an audience to feel alive. Approval is sweet, but freedom is sweeter. And when you finally choose freedom, you will see that the people worth keeping in your life are the ones who never required you to wear a mask in the first place. Disapproval feels dangerous. It triggers something old, something deep in your nervous system. Carl Jung said, Shame is a soul-eating emotion. Disapproval is often just shame in another form. It reminds you of every moment you were told you were too much or not enough. From childhood, you learned to avoid it. A frown meant trouble. A sharp tone meant you'd crossed a line. A cold silence meant love could be withdrawn. So you shaped yourself to avoid it. You learned the right answers. You spoke in the right tone. You read the room before you spoke. And it worked. You stayed out of trouble. You kept relationships intact. You avoided conflict. But there was a cost. The more you avoided disapproval, the more you avoided yourself. Nietzsche said, "You have your way. I have my way. As for the right way, it does not exist." Yet you learned to believe there was only one way, their way. And the fear of stepping outside it kept you small. When you fear disapproval, you hand over your freedom. You let someone else decide your choices. You edit your thoughts before they are spoken. You shrink your dreams so they don't make others uncomfortable. The truth is, disapproval cannot actually harm you. It can sting. It can unsettle you. But it cannot take your worth unless you give it permission. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it." Disapproval feels unbearable only because you have been taught to overestimate its power. Sometimes disapproval means you're wrong. Sometimes it means you're different. Sometimes it means you've stopped playing by rules that never served you. But when you fear it too much, you never find out which it is. You stay silent before you test the truth. You stay agreeable before you try something new. Breaking free from this fear means making peace with being misunderstood. It means allowing others to have the wrong opinion of you. It means no longer trying to manage every perspective. At first, it feels reckless. You hear the imagined judgments in your head. You picture the fallout. You rehearse the defense you'll never give. But slowly you realize the ground does not collapse when someone disapproves. The sky does not fall. You are still here, and you are still whole. Jung believed that individuation, the process of becoming yourself, requires breaking from collective approval. You cannot grow if you need the group to bless every step. This doesn't mean you stop listening to feedback. It means you stop worshiping it. You learn to weigh it without letting it rule you. Some disapproval will teach you. Some will free you. And some will reveal who was only comfortable with you when you were easy to control. When you can hear, "I don't agree," without collapsing, you have taken back your power. When you can stand in your truth without asking for permission, you have stepped into your life fully. Disapproval will always exist. The question is whether it will steer your life. Carl Jung also said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." That privilege is impossible if you let fear of disapproval dictate your path. You are not here to be universally liked. You are here to live a life so true to yourself that the right people recognize you, even if others never do. No is one of the smallest words you can speak, and one of the hardest. It can change the direction of your life. It can protect what matters. It can save you from years of resentment. But most people avoid it. They replace it with soft maybes. They disguise it with excuses. They delay it until saying yes feels easier than the discomfort of refusal. Carl Jung said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." Saying no is part of that acceptance. It means admitting your limits. It means protecting your time and energy. It means choosing truth over approval. When you cannot say no, you live in a constant state of overcommitment. You say yes when you're tired. You agree when you disagree. You take on what isn't yours because it feels safer than conflict. But the cost is high. Every unwanted yes is a withdrawal from your own life. Every avoided no is an invitation for someone else to take more. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This applies to every agreement you make. If you cannot say yes with your whole self, you owe it to yourself to say no. No is not cruelty. It is clarity. It does not require anger. It does not require apology. It requires knowing what is right for you and standing by it. The courage to say no starts with small steps. You pause before agreeing. You check your motives. You ask if this is something you genuinely want to give. If the answer is no, you speak it simply. No story. No justification. Just a clear line. At first, the reaction will feel heavy. Some will push back. Some will try to change your mind. Some will call you selfish. But that discomfort is part of the shift. People who were used to your compliance will need to adjust. Those who respect you will adapt. Those who don't will fall away. Nietzsche said, "The man of knowledge must be able not only to love his enemies but also to hate his friends." In this context, it means you must be willing to disappoint even those close to you if it means being true to yourself. The more you say no with integrity, the less you need to defend it. Your boundaries become clear. Your time becomes respected. Your relationships become healthier. No frees you. It gives you space for the things you truly value. It keeps your energy from being scattered across obligations you never wanted. Carl Jung also said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And you cannot become that person while saying yes to everything that pulls you away from yourself. Saying no is not about shutting people out. It's about choosing what you let in. It's about creating a life you don't need to escape from. The courage to say no is the courage to protect your future from the weight of unnecessary promises. It is the courage to live by choice, not by default. Because every no you speak with conviction makes your next yes more powerful. You have spent years waiting. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for the right approval. Waiting for the right words from the right people to tell you it's safe to begin. That moment never comes. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." You cannot do that if you are living on someone else's timeline. Permission is a habit you learned early. You asked before you acted. You sought validation before you spoke. You waited for a nod before you moved forward. At first, it was survival. Children need guidance. Children need approval to feel safe. But you are not a child anymore. And yet, the habit remains. You check the faces in the room. You measure your words by the reaction you imagine they will create. You postpone decisions until someone says they're good enough. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." If time is not guaranteed, why give so much of it to hesitation? Living without permission is not about recklessness. It is about recognizing you are the authority over your own life. It is about making choices without waiting for everyone to agree. When you live for permission, you shrink your life to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. You delay action until opportunities are gone. You abandon ideas before they take form. You start to confuse safety with stagnation. And stagnation feels comfortable until it turns into regret. Nietzsche said, "Become who you are." You cannot become that person if every step must be approved before you take it. Living without permission means trusting your own judgment. It means accepting that you will make mistakes, and that they will be yours to own, not anyone else's to approve. It means choosing what matters to you even when others cannot see the value. It means letting go of the need to convince everyone to understand. It means accepting that some people will misread your motives, and still moving forward. This will unsettle those who benefited from your hesitation. They will call you impulsive. They will call you arrogant. They will say you have changed. And they are right. You are no longer waiting for them to hand you a life you could have claimed yourself. Carl Jung also said, "The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases." Your life will not make sense to everyone. It doesn't have to. Living without permission is not about shutting people out. It's about leading from your own center. It's about walking paths you choose, even when no one walks beside you. When you stop asking, you start acting. When you stop waiting, you start living. And the only person who needs to grant you permission to be yourself is you.